I'm Brent Leary.
Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and quite honestly, I feel played out right now. But
Amen, brother.
it is what it is when you're like getting down to the wire, or I don't know, close to the edge,
We're getting down to the as.
the nitty gritty. Yeah,
that's what as is, nitty gritty.
There it is, and we've been trying to figure that one out for the last 17 years.
There is the as.
But we are the CRM Playaz, and we're less than a week away from something. I don't know.
Less than a week away from the NBA playoffs, maybe?
No,
March Madness? Is March Madness starting a week?
Well, we are in March, so it could be.
Yeah, and what we're going through is definitely madness.
Yes, but it is IRL madness. And before we could even attempt to talk about IRL madness, we have Moment of Spin madness.
Oh, yeah, now we're talking.
Oh, my goodness. What the hell?
What?
I don't know what the hell that is. Wow. Good luck. That's all I can say.
I am guessing it is either it's an Eskimo language, Inuit, or
I see a lot of Inuits in there. So
no, I know, but it's some form of Eskimo language. I don't know what maybe the name of the specific, or it could be Aleutian, Eskimo, Inuit, one of those.
And who knew that Stephen Hawking spoke that? So
yeah,
he's a smart guy.
Wow, that is a really unusual one.
So what did you guess?
Look at that with the double S's and double A's and double S's and double A's.
Yeah, it's like what was MI? What was the one MISSISS? Cricket letter, whatever that stuff was.
What MISSISSIPPI? Mississippi.
No, it was crooked letter I, not PPI.
I don't remember that one.
It was weird. But anyway, what's your guess?
I'm gonna go with Eskimo language, and it's gonna be Inuit. I'll say Inuit, but I don't really know the names of Eskimo languages. I don't really know. This one's really difficult. I've never seen anything like that one.
But all right,
Eskimo or Inuit.
All right, Sven, you can give us the right answer and let us know if you stumped the Godfather.
That is cool. Speaking of which, Sven, we definitely need to talk to you for IRL 2026 before the week is up.
No, it's not a lot of time.
I know.
Anyway, so while we wait for the word, there it is. Greenland.
Wow. Well, I was right. That is an Eskimo language.
Yeah, so Greenland isn't the language, is it?
No, the language that's the country, but it's a derivative of an Eskimo language, Inuit. Or Inuit's Inuit's the Canadian version of the Eskimo language. I don't think it's called Greenlandic, but that isn't. I am right about the foundation part. That I'm sure.
Oh, all right. So does that mean Sven? Is he right? Does he get it? Let us know if you give the Godfather the win on this one, or is he just? I think I'm pretty
close. I'll give myself 80% of that one. I got the foundation right. I just don't know the derivative name.
Yeah, it's all derivative to me.
It's all as. It's all as to me.
It's all as.
It's all as to me, man.
And that is an A and a Z.
That is correct. And that's Arizonan.
All right. So I think he's giving you, so it's called Greenlandic. All right. Well.
Okay. It's up to you, Sven. You call it. You either give it to me or you don't. I know it's like it's I'm giving myself as close enough, but it's not. I won't say I'm 100% right.
All right. Well, while you're doing while he's doing that,
origin of it.
So we have mentioned a week from today, we will actually be damn near over with, almost done with IRL 26. But we ain't there yet, folks. So we do have some news. We have just, I think, within the last 15, 20 minutes or so, we have two big pieces of news. They're tied together. One, and we are very appreciative of ServiceNow hopping on board and becoming a sponsor.
Yes, thank you, ma'am and sirs.
Almost sounded like, please, may I have another? Kind of reminded me of that.
Another cup of gruel.
Oh, so Sven is
Thank
giving you the win.
Sven. No, he gave me the win. Thank you.
Yes, he gave you the win.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, all right. So we're just cooking with good news here. So ServiceNow, thanks to coming on board. And we're really excited about that. And because they came on board, this next thing makes so much more sense. Terrence Chesseret is going to be joining us at IRL 26.
And what's he known as?
He is known as the smoothest man in CRM. We are gleefully the ones who anointed him that.
We have got the official cool jazz guy.
I hope he likes cool jazz. You know,
he has to. If he's that smooth, man. That was exactly what he would be. Terrence Chesseret. What was the name of that? I think it was a jazz clarinetist.
What, Benny Goodwin?
No.
Good Ben.
I can't think of the guy.
Jazz clarinetist.
Yeah, it was clarinetist. He was also really smooth. He played kind of really smooth jazz. Like it was really like very cool jazz.
I don't know. I know all the sax guys.
Yeah, it'll come to me in a while.
But anyway, do you notice anything different about Terrence in that?
You mean his title?
Look at that title.
I know.
Group Vice President, ServiceNow CRM Products and Industry Workflows. And you know what? I think this is so new, so hot off the presses, and I know why.
Why?
Because ServiceNow just came on board as a sponsor, and they had to get a title fitting of becoming a sponsor of IRL. And so we will take full credit for Terrence Chesseret.
As we often do. Once again, we will take full credit for the promotion of various people, everybody.
Whether we deserve it or not, we'll just,
we do deserve it. There is no question about that.
But how cool. First of all, congratulations. I don't know how long this has been. I just looked at his LinkedIn profile. And I was like, wait a minute, something's different here.
Probably a couple months, I would guess, maybe.
Yeah, maybe he needed to update his profile sooner or something. I don't know. But that's really cool. Congratulations. We've known him for a long time, and he's been the same guy for that entire time. He's never let the success get to him.
Nah, he really is. Aside from being smooth, he is just a genuinely really good person.
Yeah, and every time I think of workflows, he immediately comes to mind because he was talking about that. He's been talking about that forever. And now we're in the context of CRM workflows, which I think is really cool.
Well, I mean, ServiceNow is in the mode of going all in on the CRM world. I mean, in their own way, it's a little different than, let's say, a typical approach, but there'll be more, I'm sure, coming out, and we'll probably hear more about it at the actual IRL too.
Yeah, so before we get to the other announcement, any last minute tidbits, updates you want to share with the folks
about the conference?
Yes.
No. No. Well, I mean, we're at the point now where there's still some openings for in-person registration, but that's gotten close to the end of that because, honestly, because we're running a conference, we have to do things like tell the people who are buying food from how much food we want to buy. So we can't really wait for lots of last minute registrations because, we don't have enough food as a result, right? So that will be closing shortly. However, that does mean you have the opportunity to register for the virtual event. And I will tell you what, the Playaz Cast IRL watch party is beginning to shape up really nicely. Adrian Swinsko, who is an esteemed analyst and AKA customer related and CRM related and CX related punk, is going to be the host and of the watch party. And right now we have 3 commentators who are coming in to comment throughout, and several others who are in the works. The 3 we have are CX expert James O'Connor, regenerative capitalist Jeremy Cox, and of course, actually the gentleman who will be our guest today. I won't say his name. Well, I will say his name since people will know, which is also the man who is probably the most esteemed and at the same time strongly opinionated leader in the CRM CX space, Bob Stutz, right? And you know that he is, the best way to describe what Bob will say will be, it will be unexpurgated.
Ooh, that's a good Benny Hill word.
Yes, it is. Yes, we do, Sven. We want to actually open the conference with that.
Yes.
Yes. The answer is a big yes. So we will, I'll ping you right after the show, and then we'll set up some time for you, me, and Brent to talk and get it done.
All right. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's next week. But I have to say, I feel a little bit more confident this year going into it than we did. Well, last year we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Yeah, we did. You know, there's an old saying in baseball that there were these 2 pitchers, Warren Spahn and Johnny Sane, on the Braves, and they were just unbeatable, right? So the way that this statement was from the baseball players who would oppose them: Spahn and Sane and pray for rain.
That's nice.
We were praying for rain most of last year because we had no idea what we were going to be up against at all. Now, in the case, of course, Spahn and Sane, you knew exactly what was going to be up against, which is why you would pray for rain. But in our case, we had no idea. So all we cared about was and you know what? We got it. We got snow. Okay, deal. Tomorrow it is.
All right. You know what? So IRL26.com, that is the URL that you can go to like right now. You can see more about who's speaking, and you get a lot more information. You can register. It's free to attend the virtual. There's going to be 4 streams, 4 different streams at one point, not the whole 4, not no 8 hours, but at one point there'll be actually 4 streams because we have a main stage. That's where, you know, the general session stuff is going to be going on. That's a stream. We're gonna have another stream that is tied to the first stream that we're calling Heather Cam. That's because Heather Willems, the person that you really, just the go-to person, somebody mentioned in the comments that you can't replace her with AI. So Heather is just truly amazing because what she does, while all the speakers are speaking and presenting and saying all these smart things, she turns them into visualizations in real time. It's just really cool to watch. You know, I get carried away watching her sometimes more than I'm actually watching.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. You realize how fast you have to be thinking to do that, right? To do what she does. She literally, I mean, she has to catch the idea, absorb the idea, then imagine the art for the idea, and then draw it before the idea is even finished being expressed on the canvas.
And you will be able to watch all of that in real time because we have a camera that is going to be trained on her at all times. So you can choose between watching what's actually going on stage with the main stage stream, or you could watch her translate what's going on the main stage into these really beautiful images and visualizations
And that segment will be sponsored by Creatio.
Powered by Creatio. That's right.
Powered.
Another one. Yeah, I like the powered by. Oh, wow.
Powered by Creatio.
We know we should get your avatar to say stuff like that.
Oh, we probably could. I can write it into the prompt.
Speaking of avatars and speaking of all these streams, matter of fact, I got so carried away, I didn't even finish all the streams. I think I got see, you got me with the powered by. I got all off track. So those are the first two streams. Another stream for the live PPN shows that will be going on in the afternoon in front of a live studio audience too. How did we get that? We got a live studio audience.
We actually have people there. That's why.
And they're alive, so
that's right. And they've managed to make it through.
So that's the third stream. That'll be going on. I think it starts up right after noon and goes till about 3:30 or something. I don't know. Somewhere around that.
I think literally 3:30. That's interesting because not only do we have 3 of our regular shows in the hot seat, the crunch, and of course a few good minutes, but we're launching a new show, which I'm going to be launching, called Rated PG, and we're doing a network special on content creation, the did and woulda, coulda, shoulda, so to speak. And we're going to talk about the process of content creation and what the obstacles, the successes, why it worked. And these are people with 3 authors who have written books, all of which will be available to attendees and in-person attendees, though. I'm sorry. And 3 people who have ideas for shows, but haven't actually put them into practice yet. And we're going to talk about not just the idea, but what are the obstacles, what do they need to be doing, how that works. And the host of that will be Kenny Lauer, who I think all of you know, former head of marketing for Golden State Warriors, probably the leading experience design guy in the world. And I'm probably not exaggerating a bit there. And an extraordinary friend of Brent and I. And so he will be hosting that. But that's a one-time network special.
Yep. So you'll be seeing in the hot seat, you'll be seeing the crunch. You'll be seeing Talking Headless with Shashi Bellamkonda.
Right.
You'll be seeing is it like the pilot of Rated PG?
Pilot of Rated PG, one of the 3 segments. We're only going to do one.
All right. And you'll be seeing a few good minutes. Wow, that's a lot.
Shashi's guest is actually very unusual for us. She's an AR person, but she's the head of AR for Red Hat, Christine Stern. So that'll be really fantastic. She's apparently one of those a dynamo head. Shashi, I know, loves her.
I just want to know, like, if you work for a company called Red Hat, do you have to wear red hats wherever you go? Or
only at Christmas?
Well, there's also Red Kangos, which Michael Wu likes to sport too. All right, so that's the third stream. So we still have one more stream, which is going to be, and this is like near and dear to our hearts because we love the watch party kind of setup, and we do watch parties for all these industry events, and it only makes sense that at our event we had to I mean, we would have looked dumb if we did an event we did not have some kind of watch party as part of it.
Yeah, and the instructions I've given all the commentators and host is it's be as snarky as you want.
Yeah, really. It's your chance.
Basically, just do what we do when we're doing them. Just because we're all buddies doesn't mean you have to be always nice. If you don't like something you're hearing, say so.
So all the folks
say that too.
All the folks that we know at vendors, this is your chance to get paid back because we can be a little tough on things that we see from your events. So it's only fair about as fair play,
and that will be only main stage, though. That will be only on main stage.
Right. That's right. So, but those are the 4 streams available. And I think we tried this last year, and to be quite honest, it didn't go too well. So what we are really excited about because we really want that part of the virtual experience to be way better, not just way better than last year for us, but we're really hoping that this could be something that the industry, the vendors, think seriously about improving the virtual experience to their events. And we are excited, really, really excited about our new partner, who's also a sponsor of the show, called Kaltura. And Kaltura is really an industrial strength events platform, among other things they do. They host events for the likes of Salesforce with Dreamforce, NVIDIA GTC. It seems like there was another one, another biggie too. I'm mistaking it.
AWS.
Oh, AWS reInvent, absolutely. And so the same, well, not, I mean, the platform that all these companies use, we are very fortunate to have become a partner and sponsor of what we do here, not only with IRL, but also something, the best part of the show, the part of the show that the Venerable Paul Greenberg loves the most.
That's the weeks we don't have this part of the show. That's the ones I love the most.
So we wanted to have on with us today Ruthie, what's her,
Eisenberg.
Eisenberg. I want to make sure I say it right. Who is not, well, she's an executive over at Kaltura, but more, I think, important in our little world. Go ahead and say it.
Let's say this. I've known Ruthie since the first time I met, I'll say what I've been saying. The first time I met Ruthie was literally being rocked in her cradle by her mom, right? I literally have known her since she was born, just about, right? She's, her family has been friends of our family. You know, to me, she's my niece. I'm really that close to her, her sister, her brother, and her mom and dad. Her mom and dad we've known so long, for example, that her mom was my wife's roommate before she knew her dad, right? So that's how long we've known. That's how long we've known this family. Ruthie is one of the people closest to my heart in the world, really. And so Kaltura, she's a VP over at Kaltura. She's kind of tech vertical and some other significant parts. She obviously is, Brent has seen in it, I've known for a while, is a powerhouse of a person too.
And you're going to get a chance to see her too at next week's IRL event. But before we do that, we did get a chance to record a short conversation with Ruthie to talk a little bit more about what Kaltura does and how they do it and why they do it. So we're going to play this pre-recorded segment. Then after that, he's already in the green room. So we got to get into some no BS time. But before that, let's go ahead and see what Kaltura is all about. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of IRL. And thank you for sponsoring the best segment of the CRM Playaz show.
Yeah. It's an honor to be stepping in. So thank you for allowing us to do so. And super excited to also be part of IRL and be hosting everybody there in a couple weeks virtually. And I'm looking forward to being there in person as well. I'm overseeing our tech vertical and working with some of the most amazing customers. And our work really sits at the intersection of media, intelligence, and engagement. So that's where you'll see all of those elements come to life at IRL26.com. So check it out, pre-event, during event, post-event. And really our background is in helping organizations simplify engagement across a single platform. So you have a few layers in Kaltura. You've got the content creation, the content management, and then the actual content experience, which is what everybody here will get the most exposure to. And you guys have gotten exposure to the content management piece. So excited to hear your thoughts there as well.
Ruthie gave us a little clip to explain a little bit more about what Kaltura does. So why don't we go to that? And then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit more.
Kaltura's agentic avatars are built for moments where engagement matters most.
It listens, learns, and adapts in real time, bringing your knowledge to life with a presence that scales so that every moment of engagement turns into action.
All right, Ruthie, please tell us a little bit more about Kaltura. You got a little glimpse of it, but talk about the importance, and this is kind of my bugaboo, and I think it's Paul's too, about the importance of getting the virtual experience just as right as the physical experience as a lot of these big events, because that's what your platform really brings together.
Yeah, I mean, we power video interactive immersive experiences for over 10 million monthly active users, right? Across video content management, events, and OTT. And what we're seeing, though, to your question about getting it right for virtual, like, you know, they say you can scale virtual endlessly, right? You can reach all audiences, no matter where they are, localized in every language. You can't scale a conference room. So it's really, really important that the same level of interaction and engagement can be felt virtually as well. But it requires a lot, right? It requires a lot of orchestration. So that's sort of where we're going next. And you saw in the clip really how we're bringing agentic and immersive conversational AI agents into the experience. Because the way the direction we're going is we see conversational AI, it's everywhere, right? But it's still operating from the sideline quite a bit, right? It's not really transforming that real-time experience. So excited to talk about this also on stage at IRL, but we're seeing how actually the conversation can become the experience, right? Transforming all the surfaces that you touch and how you experience a brand. So bringing an event to life, but then also bringing the conversation to life as well.
So you also have this sort of platform that provides a level of thought leadership too by its nature. So can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. The way we see it is, you know, if you think about the customer journey and what you seek when you're trying to get information about a company or a brand, it's evolved quite a bit over time. And video has been very, very central to that educational experience. If I'm a customer and I want to learn about a brand, and video is what we are expert in. It's what we store. We have, again, you know, many, many, many petabytes of video content that we sort of focused on atomizing and analyzing, vectorizing to provide these more relevant, personalized experiences so that you're experiencing a brand in not for 45 minutes of a webinar session or a conference moment, but you're getting to the exact minute of content that you need in a specific moment. And so that's sort of the direction we're going with all of this rich media. Like, how can you develop on the fly the right experience for Paul versus Brent versus Ruthie? And that's like the direction you'll start to see, especially as we talk about avatars and how they can really bring the experience to life rather than just be info retrieval mechanisms. It can really adapt the conversation real time to get you to where you need to go.
What can you tell us about what to expect to see at IRL? And also, where can people go to learn more beyond IRL about what you guys are doing? Absolutely.
So at IRL, please attend because you'll be amazed at the agentic real-time conversational avatar agents that will come to life on stage. We'll love your feedback and we'll love to give you all the opportunity to engage. You can check out Kaltura and the Kaltura experience if you go to IRL26.com, because that's where we are hosting the IRL virtual experience. And that is where we also have a live avatar. So you can check that out. But for all other Kaltura related information, go to Kaltura.com.
All right, let's bring us back here. Really excited about that. I can't wait.
I am too.
And just for folks who may be interested, if you go to irl26.com right now and go to the bottom of the page, you might actually see a pretty familiar looking avatar.
Is it back up?
And I don't know. It might be. Just keep checking. You might see a familiar face as an avatar. Kind of interesting. All right. It's that time. It's no BS time. Should call it the no BS zone or something. I don't know. Because we can't have any of that when we have the one and only Bob Stutz join us. So without a further ado, because you already know who he is.
Oh God, yeah, everyone knows this guy. Literally.
Hey Bob, how you doing?
There he
You guys
is.
keep me waiting for too long. I was just about to sign off. Fuck y'all. If you tell me to be on at 9:20 and my time is
I just
valuable.
said log in at 9:20 or 3:20.
It's nothing like getting that first F-bomb right out of the way early.
Right.
So what's new, Bob? What's going on where you are right now?
Nothing. It's like springtime.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Like-
beautiful.
Uh,
Warm
what do you mean?
temperatures, sunny,
Sounds like it's here too. 70 degrees here.
all melted.
We're at like 40, I think. 35, 40. Not spring yet. So, well, you know what though? I think what I'd love to get I want to, what I want to get started. What do you think, Brent? What are you thinking where I'm going on this question?
I have zero idea, really.
Yes,
I
you
don't
do.
know.
It's one that's going to be constantly talked about at IRL too, I'm pretty sure.
Baseball season?
No, SAS versus
Oh, okay. The Saspocalypse stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. Thank
Yeah,
you.
here we go, right?
I'm already agreeing with you. Go ahead.
It's
Take it away.
Listen, it's vendor bullshit, right? It's like, look, they have to justify their existence somehow, right? And when you listen to whether it's Workday, whether it's Salesforce, but all the AI companies use our software. Well, no shit, they use your software because they haven't figured out how to build their own yet. Eventually they will, and that'll be the end of it, right? I mean, look, you always have to look at what vendors say, and the reality is look, there is definitely. It's the same thing with, AI is not going to replace jobs at the end of the day. We're building AI to work together with humans. That is a load of shit. And anybody who believes that is fucking nuts, because look, just look at what's happening even in the tech sector, what's happening, right? Jobs, people are getting laid off left and right. Right? What was the company recently?
Block.
Yeah,
I think he laid off
10,000 people.
Yeah, he laid off 40% of the workforce.
40% of the workforce.
Yeah.
Because figured out didn't need them, right? Because of AI.
He said he was actually getting ahead of the curve when he sees where
Well,
it's going.
and at least he's being honest about it. Right?
I gave him points for the honesty too. Yeah, you're right.
At least you got to give him points for being honest about it, right? But that's just the beginning, right? You look what Amazon's done. Right? Look how many people Amazon has laid off. And they weren't people, stuffing boxes. These were tech workers that they let go. Right? I mean, this is just going to keep going and going and going and going. It's not going to get any better. And every one of these software vendors is trying to figure out, look, it's the, and I can't believe I even say this stuff, right? Because, look, I do believe in capitalism, but at some juncture, what we're getting to now is a point where it is all about the dollar at the end of the day. And these companies are going to do whatever it takes to get a higher profit margin. And that means laying off more and more people, right? Because what's your number one expense in a company? People. Right? So if you can get rid of those people, right? Slim it down, right? Higher margins, right? I mean, you got to do something. I mean, look, I don't blame them at the end of the day, right? But at least be honest about it, right? At least be honest about the fact of why you're letting people go. Right? And when I hear Salesforce in particular,
do you think this is the tech sector, or is this going to be endemic to everything?
I think it's all across the board. I don't think I think the tech sector is just more visible, right? Because the visibility with the tech sector, people are more louder, right? They're all over LinkedIn, right? So you just have more visibility to it at the end of the day. But I think it's everywhere, right? I think it's government. I think it's going to be in all forms of the private sector. I think, you're going to see manufacturing getting, automotive companies, right? It's going to go, I mean, it's just going to be everywhere, right? Nobody wants to really talk about the reality of it. Even the AI people sort of brush over it, right? They tend not to, like just come out and say it. Oh, we're going to try to replace every single job we can with automation at the end of the day.
What's the long term for this? I mean, there are still human beings out of work as a result. So
well, and it's going to get worse. I don't think it's going to get better. And then you hear people talk about retraining. Retraining what? What's there to retrain on? Learning to use AI? Is that going to guarantee you a job at the end of the day? No, it's not actually.
I have a friend that she's always talking about, because most of the headlines around all this stuff is, Anthropic gets a $50 billion commitment from Amazon. And so it's like these 7 companies that it seems like the money goes from here to there, and then from there to there, and then back to there. And then, and she's like, and it's all kind of poised to be getting rid of people, automation and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, well, the agents, these AI agents, will they pay for stuff? Because who's going to be left to buy anything?
That's actually a very good point at the end of the day, right? I mean, if you think about it, right, what's that going to do, the overall net effect to the economy at the end of the day, right? I mean, it's not a good thing, right? And I think, people don't want to face the reality of this stuff, right? And so everybody talks around it. They, and look, I believe even enterprises are going to realize they don't need to pay a Salesforce or an SAP or even a ServiceNow all the money they pay them at the end of the day. They're going to figure out that they can build this stuff themselves, and they can build it cheaper, faster, and change it whenever they want to change it, instead of being at the mercy of a vendor, right? I mean, there was an interesting article I just read. It was geared around Salesforce, and it talked about how Agentforce and all the stuff that Salesforce is doing is just another one of their ploys that they've done all along, right? Which is, it's just another add-on, another renegotiation of a contract over and over again to get more money out of their customers at the end of the day. And what you hear is a lot of those customers are pretty frustrated with the whole thing. And I think that's true of all the vendors, right? And now you have, SAP basically saying, oh yeah, the CEO is going to now be in charge of product. Oh, that's that ought to go over really fucking well at the end of the day. I mean, putting a finance person in charge of product, that's, I'm sorry, but there's just something wrong with that equation, right?
Oh, go ahead, Bob.
But you look at some of these companies, right? I mean, when's the last time SAP produced a new product?
I have no idea.
I don't think they've done one in 15, 20 years. To be quite honest.
It was CRM 2007.
Yeah. I mean, how do you, look, they're laying off people. They let a bunch of people go at the end of last year, right? They lost a hell of a lot of their IP, walked out the door. And you got to wonder where this all goes, right? It's not leading to anything good, I think. And I think, at some juncture you have to start. I think people are going to have to really wake up and figure out that this is not going to be good for anybody, right? As development tools get better and better, right? You need less developers. You still need developers, but you need better developers. developers. You need ones that can actually work with those tools and make those tools much more productive, right? But if you think about like application engineers, do you really need them anymore?
We were
Probably
watching
not.
a little clip of Jensen Huang on CNBC. I think he was talking after they did their earnings last week, and he was basically kind of mounting a defense for the enterprise SaaS group. He was saying, look, I know a lot of the financial analysts are talking about the kind of the disintermediation of enterprise software companies, and eventually who's going to need them. But he is basically saying he doesn't buy into that. Of course, he has some financial reasons not to. We'll stipulate to that. But one of the things he said was the enterprise software vendors are going to use these platforms to build tools for their platforms, but he doesn't see enterprise companies that are used to buying enterprise software. He doesn't see them using agents to build their own software. So he was basically saying the vendors are going to use software or to use AI to help their customers build tools that make it easier for them to use their software. And then he said the last part was the one thing that is irreplaceable from like these new technology startups is the data that is at the disposal of the enterprise vendors and the institutional knowledge about industries. Those things are hard to be replicatable, even with AI. So do you believe, and he said the system of record is really a differentiator between these new startups and that are doing all these other things that are not necessarily the factual data that companies depend on to run. How do you see all that?
Look, that data is stagnant data at the end of the day. I mean, the reality is look, yes, it's important data from a historical perspective and things, right? But the reality is look, I think, look, he has a vested interest in saying SaaS isn't going to go away, right? And I mean, that's a big part of his business at the end of it, right? They're still a chip company. And people buy servers, right? And that's never going to go away. But I don't think, if you really think about this realistically, why would I continue to pay? Let's just take an example, let's take like a Salesforce, right? Could I get rid of Salesforce tomorrow and build it all myself? I don't believe so, right? I believe what companies will start to do is they'll start to build pieces themselves that are better than what Salesforce has built. They're still going to utilize that system of record because they have to at the end of the day, because that's where all their historical data is sitting, right? That's where a lot of their customer data is sitting. But over time, I mean, look, here's the interesting part about AI. The application side of AI has accelerated. If you think about it, right? The tools, the ability to build applications. But what hasn't accelerated on the AI side is data. And the sophistication of agents to not have to have data in a centralized store. Eventually, someone's going to solve that problem where an agent can go and fetch data from anywhere and not have to be in a centralized store. And it doesn't have to be in a system of record. It can reside anywhere in the enterprise at the end of the day.
But you remember that back in the day, even before AI, that was sort of what Coveo was trying to do.
It was actually the first to do that was actually what Siebel did with the unified, I forget the name of it.
Unified data,
which was basically we took the database and said, you could build your own stuff on top of the database. And basically we built a set of connectors, right, for business processes. But I actually believe that over time, look, it's not going to happen overnight, right? I mean, look, there's no way this can happen overnight, right? It's going to take, it's going to take a long time, right? But eventually, I do believe that what you'll see over the next 5 years is companies becoming less and less dependent on major vendors. They're going to figure out how to look. You take a major financial services company, right? They've probably got 10,000 developers sitting in India, right? Could they not build their own stuff using Cursor and other tools? And, they literally could build their own stuff and maintain it and probably do a better job, right? Than being dependent on a vendor at the end of the day. Now, he's right about some things like industry knowledge, but does a vendor like Salesforce know the industry better than a company who's actually selling and doing business in the industry? I would say no. They know their business better than anybody, right? The problem was, I think, and I probably get a bunch of shit for saying this, I think CIOs have gotten lazy over the years. They became too reliant on the vendors to do the things that they should have been figuring out how to do themselves. And I think the vendors are at blame too, because they wine and dine the shit out of CIOs. And, it's really not a system of what's best for the customer at the end of the day, but what's best for the vendor. And I do think that is going to shift. I think CEOs are going to start looking at that expenditure, and they're going to starting to question why they pay so much money for this stuff at the end of the day. And let's be clear, studies have shown time and time again, companies who buy packaged software only use between 10 and 20% of what's actually in that package at the end of the day. So what are you really paying for, right? Are you really getting your money's worth at the end of the day? Are you really getting that return on investment, right? And look, that's a big, I think companies are going to have to question that, right?
It goes to something you said months ago, really. So right now we're seeing the SaaS versus AI. I don't think SaaS as an architecture is going away. It's basically the architecture for the cloud. But I do think, and this goes to what you just said and what you actually suggested months ago, that the pricing models are going to change. They have to, really. And to your point, if I remember correctly, it was more consumption-based, right? What you were talking about.
That's right.
Elaborate a little on that, because I think that's really where...
Well, because I think, I think that's going to be the start of this, right? Which is customers are going to start demanding that they pay based on what they're using and not paying a per monthly fee per seat, right? Look, the cloud license became the old perpetual license. It really did, right? And, if you remember back when the whole mantra about cloud came about, right? And it was all about, well, you didn't need the perpetual license. You basically leased the software. It's in the cloud. You don't have to pay for support, right? But what's happened? You pay more for support in the cloud than you did with a perpetual license nowadays, right? All these companies, every one of the SaaS vendors, premium support, exceptional support, right? You pay for that at the end of the day, right? So we really have come full circle again. The cloud has, and SaaS, and let's be clear, there's not what I would consider to be a lot of pure SaaS vendors, right? There's a few. I would say, look, Salesforce is a pure SaaS vendor. They were born in the cloud, raised in the cloud, right? But you look at other companies like an SAP, they're not a pure SaaS vendor, right? Just because you take an on-premise instance and you move it to the freaking cloud in a hosted environment, and now you call it a subscription, and you say it's SaaS, right?
It used to be the ASP market.
It is the ASP, right? A lot of these companies are nothing more than ASPs at the end of the day, right? And I think, look, SaaS is not going to go away anytime soon. It can't, right? Because to replace that stuff and move off of it, it's going to take a very long time, right? But it will happen at some juncture, and pieces of it will start to happen, right?
So, but where does that,
like Agent Force? Take a good example like Agent Force. Okay, now I'm paying for all these licenses per seat. On top of that, now I've got to buy Data Cloud because my agents don't really work unless I put all the data into Data Cloud. And then on top of that, now I have to pay the consumption fee for the agents at the end of the day, right? So you start adding that up, it gets pretty expensive at the end of the day, right? I don't think people fully comprehend, look, it's just like the AI players, right? Like Claude, like OpenAI, right? Did you ever notice how when you start using it too much on your subscription, how things start to slow down? Right? Yeah. Did your answers get slower?
Well, and not only that, right? they'll stop in the middle of an answer if your tokens run out. Just stop dead.
Right? Because it's not cheap, right? Every one of those, conversations becomes expensive at the end of the day, right? So if you really think about automating all that stuff, right, and you really think about, an agentic enterprise, a true agentic enterprise, right, that can do federated agents, the whole bit, what's that going to cost an enterprise at the end of the day?
Yeah.
What's that cost going to be, right? I think people haven't fully comprehended what the cost of this is going to be. Yeah, right.
Well, that and the power cost, the energy cost. I mean, the cost is.
Well, you remember when the cloud first started, right? Nobody made money because the more customers you put on the cloud, the more expensive it got, right? It wasn't until like 10, 15 years after the fact that the prices came down, right? The cost of running that infrastructure came down where it actually became profitable, right? But now we're facing the same thing, I think, with AI, right? You look at what it costs for the data centers, what it's going to cost somebody's got to make money here at the end of the day.
Yeah.
How long can these companies go without being, look, that $20 a month subscription for OpenAI, I don't believe it's going to stay $20 for too much longer. Well, I think what you're going to start seeing is that this stuff is going to start really increasing, right?
Well, that's why OpenClaw and what happened with that and Anthropic, they're like, hey, we're not letting third parties hit our APIs like that, because they would basically gladly pay their $200 a month and then run the thing 24/7. And they're like, and they're not making any more money off of these guys,
That's right.
Remember, LinkedIn did the same thing. They closed the API because they wanted to build Sales Navigator.
That's right.
Same reason.
And it's going to happen with every one of the AI companies, right? They're going to have to they're going to have to make money at some juncture. I mean, you can't keep losing as much money as they're losing. I mean, you look at OpenAI and you just go, how is this a good business at the end of the day? Because I don't quite understand that.
Yeah.
Right?
Because all these other companies throwing $50 billion at them just to keep their. I don't understand it either.
And then they're committing to spending $60 billion with the other company, right? So, and right now, I think the commitments of somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody identified the OpenAI commitments to the other companies as like $500 billion, right? It was some insane number.
Well, I think it was 45% of Microsoft's book was OpenAI. It was like $350 billion of.
That's Microsoft,
and that's
it's a lot, right? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a lot. I think the SaaS companies that will suffer the most, because the bigger players like the Salesforce and SAP and ServiceNow, they're going to survive for years to come, right?
Right.
But I think the players that are going to get really squeezed are these the ones that have the point solutions, right? These companies that have been around forever, that have a single point solution that, you know, is easily replaced by AI. Those are the ones that I think are going to be, you know, the ones that are going to suffer the most, right? Because I think what you've seen, even with, you know, what you've seen with Anthropic and what they've been able to do with some of the plugins, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, that's why I think that these point vendors, they're the ones that are going to take the biggest brunt in this right away, because some of that stuff can be replaced pretty quickly with, you know.
So
where do you
go ahead, Brent? Go ahead.
I'm going in a different direction.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I wanted to see how closely you're watching the Anthropic versus the Department of Defense, and where do you come down on that one?
As a retired
military,
I think it's bullshit on Anthropic's part. I mean, look, you take all the benefits that this fucking country has to give you, and then you slap it in the face. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that one bit. You know, and look, you know, I mean, look, nobody likes the fact that AI can be used for war, but the reality is that's the future of warfare. And whether we like it or not, I think, you know, it's going to be one of those things that, you know, you've just got to accept it. And, you know, but you can put limits around it. You can, you know, there's things you can do, but, you know, if Anthropic's not careful, the government can pull what I've seen them pull on other software companies over the year, which is they'll just nationalize it and take it. They'll take the IP and they'll, you know, which they have they can do it legally.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I of course came down on Anthropic's side initially, and then yesterday I'm reading how there's this version of Anthropic of Claude Opus 5 that's actually being used internally by the government, and that Anthropic seems to be fine with classified version only being used for military purposes and actually being used in the war with Iran right now. So, you know, it made me a little more diffident to both, because I use Claude. That's the one I use personally, and I like it a lot, even though it's, you know, can annoy the hell out of me. But so, and at the same time, obviously, my political thing comes down on the statement that that the CEO came up with. But then when I read that, I'm thinking, what the hell? I mean, you know, this like, okay, no, we're standing against it, except when we're not. Right. I mean, that just really did me in. I have to admit it. When I saw.
Well, and look, all these software companies, like, you know, Salesforce just did what, $5 billion deal with the Department of the Army. You think they're not going to use the AI that Salesforce has for, you know? I mean, let's face it. Look, ICE. How do you think they get all this facial recognition stuff? The government didn't build that stuff. That's all come from software vendors at the end of the day, right? And so I think it's a little, in some ways, I think it's a little childish, right? That you know, like, I get it. Some people just have some pretty strong feelings about it, but on the other hand, you know, you know, from a country perspective, look, the future of warfare isn't what we used to think it was. It's not people with guns standing on a line somewhere fighting. This is all going to be fought in you know, in a whole different way, right? You look at it already with the drones, right? You know, all the sophistication around jamming and stuff, right? All this stuff is going to be, you know, it's you know, look, the government's got to do something, because every other government, otherwise we're going to end up buying it all from the Israelis at the end of the day, like every other country is doing, you know. I mean, and I really think we're behind the times. I mean, we've really, look at China. I mean, look at the capabilities that China has from an AI perspective, right? I mean, everybody underestimates it. I mean, there's some people in the government who are saying, hey, look, we're forgetting about China, right? And I don't think you can forget about China.
No.
Because
That's wow.
because they have open resource to everything, right? And you know, they've become the masters at you know, being able to take stuff, replicate it, and make it better.
Yeah,
You know,
without regulations to worry about either.
without regulations, without, you know, I mean, look, it is a little concerning, right? I mean, look, you know, you go to the airport now and you stand in front of one of these machines and it knows exactly who the fuck you are, and you go, when did I give my permission for that? You know,
Only
right?
if you have clear did you give your permission.
Shoot,
but even when you go to enter the plane, right now, nowadays they're taking your, you know, they're using, you know, unfortunately they're using identity software, right, to identify you.
I remember years ago, there was a tech company that McDonald's was working with. So when you pull up to the fast service thing, they were actually taking voice prints. They were recording voice prints, and then you're selling them off to the data brokers.
Jesus, I didn't know that. Well, that's the thing. And the other thing, which I've been harping on a bit, which is, you know, generally, is the thing that's noticeable with the AI now is that it's developed at varying levels, including scaling memory, right? And once you have memory, man, that's really, I don't think, I know the three of us do, but, and some others do too, but I don't think in general people understand how significant that really is. That, I mean, I know even when in my use of Claude day to day, all of a sudden it'll bring something up. I'll say, where do you remember? How'd you remember? Look, even Alexa Plus has memory, right?
Yeah.
And it'll say, well, I know you did this a couple of weeks ago, so why don't you do this now? Right.
Except it seems like OpenAI is getting dumber, not smarter.
I agree.
Memory,
I actually
its
agree.
memory has some serious lapses.
Claude's memory is unbelievable. Once
I have to say, Claude is much better, but OpenAI has gotten dumber. It has not gotten smarter.
No.
You know?
Well, you're seeing people buy, like the latest Apple news came out, where now they're getting ready to break out the M5 Pros, and I think there's M5 Max too. But
yeah, there is,
where you can basically, I'm waiting for when it hits the new Mac Studios, because you are seeing these people buying, like right now they're just using the M3 Ultra Max Studios, but those things maxed out, you can put 512 gig on that thing
of RAM.
Yeah, of RAM, and you can actually daisy chain like 4 of them, so you end up with like 2 terabytes of RAM, and you're able to now run these LLMs that have 1 trillion parameters on it.
You can run them on your own.
You could run it on your own, and then the context never goes out of memory.
That's right.
Which
it's
is
amazing.
Astounding.
And you're seeing, I mean, I saw this guy on YouTube. He's got like a rack mount of 4 Mac Studios, and now they're just announcing the Mac 5 that they say has 5x the capacity or something like that. So people are literally going to be running their own data centers right in the corner of their house, where they can download every language model.
There will be lots of people who do that at the end of the day, I'm sure. You know,
I think I'm too.
And then you start talking about the concept of a smart home. Now you're really getting to the concept of a smart home, right?
But there you're getting into a concept of a stupid person, right?
Yes. Not to mention how much money that
I can't imagine. I've already spent enough on my
10,000 a machine right now.
Can you imagine?
I mean, you know, I love Apple, but it's like, you know, Siri is a waste of time.
Oh, it's horrible.
They never did anything with
They've
Siri.
never come through.
The AI on Apple is the worst.
Yeah, by far.
You know,
far.
I mean, look, the machines are good, but everything else lately is like, you know, and I go like, why would I buy another? I mean, I already have a super powerful laptop. I use the Studio, right? The studio desktop, right? You know, and it's like it's fully loaded. Why would I move to the next version of that at the end of the day, right? I have a, you know, it's maxed out on memory. It's maxed out on the hard drive, right? What more do you need at the end of the day, to be quite honest? You know?
I mean, I only have one Mac hardware device. All of my tablets and phones are Apple, but the one hardware I have is the M4 Mini, and I use that as my smart home server. And believe me, there's a lot of capacity that needs to use. It's not as small, but that thing handles it like it's you know, that big, and it handles it like it's nothing.
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, look, the hardware is really good. I mean, I have to say, I think, I mean, I would never go back to a PC. Never.
Yeah, I'm okay
never go
with
back
that.
to a Windows machine.
How you game on a Mac, man?
I don't game.
I don't game that much anymore. You know, that's what I have Xbox for.
And on that note, we're hard to believe, but we're already past the top of the hour. But it's always
okay. We you know what, when you're coming on, man, we just keep going. We don't.
Yeah, it's fun. One last thing I'll throw at you, because Anthropic. It seems like Anthropic has really stolen a great amount of mind share from OpenAI at this point. And then when they came out, I guess it was earlier this week, or was it last week, where they announced that they now can basically replace a lot of the COBOL code that's running in these. Are they still running on mainframes? I guess they're still running on mainframes. And IBM's stock went down like 15-20% immediately. Do you think that this is just the knee-jerk stuff, or do you think there's a serious, nearer than longer term threat that Anthropic is posing to stuff like IBM and AS400s and the mainframes and the tens of millions of code? That's
not just them. I mean, look, I think Anthropic is, you know, I recently read this review on this plugin they did for Excel, right? You know, that they built, right? They're going after everybody.
Yeah.
They're going after every single vendor. They're figuring out that they can build these plugins that are much more efficient than anything out there. And I think they're smarter because they have two things, right? One, they have the AI, but they also have the development kit to go along with it, right? And it's getting easier and easier to use, right? And the second part they have, which I think is interesting, is if you notice, they've now started to hire all the top like enterprise salespeople.
Yeah, which is so smart, man.
Yeah. Guys like Paul Smith, right? You know, I mean, look, I think that they are going to go after this market in a very different way than what OpenAI is trying to do. I think they've realized that the goal here is to build things that they can just plug into that enterprise backbone, right? That is their, and I think that's what they're going to do. And I think they're smart. I think they're going to go after this. And you know, look, I do believe that of all the AI companies, I think they're the ones that understand what it takes to make the money and go after the enterprise.
Well, you know what? Remember Microsoft's strategy, fast follower, man. Where's Netscape? Where's Quattro Pro? Right? I mean, it's fast follower. ChatGPT.
I mean, you know, look, Google has amazing stuff. I have to say,
Gemini is great.
Gemini is amazing, and then some of the other tools they have in the AI space, right, are unbelievable. Their problem, which has always been their problem, they just don't know how to sell to the enterprise at the end of the day.
Amen,
right?
brother.
I mean, this has always been their problem, right? And you know, they're like a kid that has attention deficit disorder. they work on something until it's like, and then they lose interest and they go on to something else, and they never really follow through to build. Like if you look at their apps, right? The Google apps are not bad. Right?
Oh, they're great, actually.
But they're actually very good, right? But it's like they lose interest in this stuff. And then they don't follow through on how to make it even better, right? How to modernize it, how to take it into the next level, right? And like Microsoft just, the problem with Microsoft is I think they just think that they have such a command with Office that they can just force everything down people's throats.
Yeah, it's not going to happen with Claude and Cowork.
But Copilot is shit. I'm sorry, but
horrible.
Copilot
No,
is.
I actually agree with you. I can't believe how bad it is.
Look, the only thing I would say is, like, if you are a diehard Office user and that is your bread and butter for everything you do, Copilot is great. But if you have to work with other things, Copilot doesn't cut it at the end of the day.
It's a shame because ultimately they were the first, and they were Copilot. They even gave it the name that caught, if you know what I mean, right? That caught on, but it just doesn't seem to have gone anywhere except, to your point, as an internal feature of their own apps, right? And that just doesn't make it work. It doesn't work. You try. Every single time I attempt to use a standalone to do something, it fails every single
time.
I have yet to have a success with it in probably a year, and I am not exaggerating at all.
I truly do not. I mean, I've been contemplating getting rid of my Office license because I don't use Office.
Yeah,
hardly at all.
I use Word a lot still.
I use PowerPoint a lot too.
I use Excel occasionally. I use Word. Also, it's good for things get exported into Excel. It's helpful sometimes. CSV files go somewhere, right? So that works okay for me. I don't use Mac stuff at all, Pages and any of that.
I don't use that either.
Nah, I've never used any of that stuff. That stuff didn't.
They're horrible.
Yeah. I mean, the Google stuff is okay. I mean, I'll use, sometimes I use the Google stuff more than anything because just
Google Drive actually is good for collaboration. It's actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the address I emailed you earlier is that. It's a Google Drive.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Google Drive is still a good. I mean, it's a good tool, right?
Yes, sir.
I like it better than OneDrive. I mean, I
don't touch OneDrive. I agree with you.
All right, we better get ready to go. But Bob, are you joining us as a commenter next week?
Yeah, I just got to look. Paul sent me the schedule. I just have to. I can't make it in person because I have another commitment on the weekend, and I would never.
We're going to miss you,
back
man.
in time.
There's a lot of people who asked if you were coming. By the way.
Yeah, if it was earlier in the week, I could have made it happen, but it's at the end of the week, and it's bad because then it's trying to get back to Europe is always a problem.
Yes,
I'm guessing it's going to be even more of so with what's going on in the world, but
yeah. Plus, flying right now is not high on my priority list with everything that's going on in the world. I was actually supposed to be in Dubai this week.
Wow.
Wow.
Glad you didn't make the trip.
Holy crap.
Well, hopefully we could get some of your insights next week if somewhere it fits in your schedule. Because who wouldn't want to have you giving the conversation, the commentary, especially after the conversation we just had. So
yes.
Yeah, well, I was going to go off on how all analysts suck, but I was going to
save something for next week, man.
That's a perfect opportunity to do it.
And
we can take it as well as we can give it, so that's okay. We're good. We're good.
I like that. We are full of shit, though. I mean, there's no way around.
No, I think back to the days, right, when Gartner used to take the software and actually use it before they wrote a review on it.
What a novel idea.
What a novel idea, right? Instead, now you get some fucking moron who listens to a bunch of people, give him some hyped up presentation. He puts out a magic quadrant, or she puts out a magic quadrant that has everybody in the leaders quadrant, and you go, all that shit sucks. None of them should be in the leaders quadrant.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, listen, there's a reasonable chance, given the what's going on next week, there'll be a point that could be that you can make that point, right? So,
yeah, I think there will be plenty of opportunity to make that point. All right, well, we'll let you go.
All right, man.
Thank you, sir. As always, big hug.
And we will see you hopefully next month on another No BS Thursday, because people love these things, and
They do,
and I'm one of those people, so we love it.
brother.
All right, so on behalf of Bob Stutz, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and the next time you hear us, we're going to be in Atlanta. So Minnie won't be there. But we'll say hi to.
Well, she will be in spirit and in physical item.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week from IRL 26.